Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 16th regular meeting of the Louis-Riel School Division Board of Trustees. Starting this evening by asking all of us to participate in a moment of silence. You will know that.
I'm so sorry. My bad. Keep going.
That's okay. You will recall that we have two school communities who are navigating some sadness and grief. One due to the passing of a former student and one due to the passing of a parent of a student. So I would ask everyone to rise as you are able to observe a moment of silence. Without saying that we extend our condolences to everyone who's been impacted by these unfortunate occurrences, and know that our thoughts and prayers have been with schools and school communities and families throughout. I would like to acknowledge that the Louis-Riel School Division brings together schools on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, Inninawak, and Dakota. And our division is located on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize that Manitoba is also the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and the Dene. We also recognize and honor Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's life-sustaining drinking water, as well as the treaty territories that generate and provide the electricity that powers daily activity throughout the province and beyond. Welcome to everyone joining us online, to our three guests from the LRTA this evening. Welcome. Just in terms of housekeeping, please be aware that this meeting is recorded for the express purpose of ensuring that our minutes are conveyed accurately. We also would ask that you not take any photos unless you've obtained permission prior to that. And we do have a 15-minute question period at the end of the meeting where you can ask the board or senior team questions about anything that was on the agenda this evening. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong learners who contribute as a democratic and sustainable world. And our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. The draft agenda was circulated in advance for tonight's meeting. I need a mover, please, and a seconder to approve that agenda. Trustee Semignola and Trustee Walker. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Voting screen
just loading, so yeah. I should mention that we have regrets this evening from Trustee Sigurdsson and Trustee Kolchak. And the motion is carried. Thank you. The minutes of the annual board meeting of September 2nd were circulated. Seeing and hearing no requests for any corrections or edits. I need a mover and a seconder to, no, I don't need a mover and seconder, I'm sorry. We will accept these minutes as they were distributed in advance. The minutes of the regular board meeting of September 2nd were also distributed in advance. I've not been made aware that there's any corrections that need to be made to these minutes, so we will accept those and archive them accordingly. That takes us to news tonight, starting with news from the board provided by Trustee Semignola.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, it's the start of a new school year, and there's a lot of activity going on around the division. But I picked to talk about these three in particular. I happen to be present at the home opener for at the homecoming for the Windsor Park Collegiate JV team. It was really exciting. I got to share that with my son as well. The victory, although wasn't on the scoreboard, but there was a victory in the community. From where I was sitting in the bleachers, I thought I only counted the people who were in front of us and people in the bleachers. Once I got out of there at halftime, I realized there was probably about 300 people there, community members and staff. Some people that I've met who just came there. I don't have a student at Windsor Park or anything. They just came for it to come and experience it. And we managed to get our T-shirts for remembrance. We're gonna hold those for a long time. So we want to thank the staff for that. It was really an exciting event to watch him take that first snap. And I know a lot of community members have been waiting for that game for a long time. So it was really exciting. I want to congratulate the players, the staff, for pulling that day off. Yeah, those are just some pictures that I managed to take. I want to share with everyone. And I know we've talked about this before, but the Niagara Place 50th anniversary has been penciled in for the 25th, Thursday at 5 p.m. So it is a community event, and it's 50 years is a long time, so it's a great accomplishment and a celebration for the school and for the division. I do plan to be there myself, but we're looking forward to this celebration next week, Thursday. And then finally, the Truth and Reconciliation Day is coming up on the 30th, and this event has been an important event for the division, for schools and our students. And I don't know if any of you have ever passed by a school on this day, the sea of orange that goes on with all the students and staff. So we do encourage families to find this time as a time to reflect and connect with school communities as well, and encourage to wear your orange shirt as well on that day.
Okay, thank you. News from the senior team tonight, provided by Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you. I'm excited this evening to bring news of our middle and late immersion programs. You may recall this year we are launching a new middle immersion program site at École Sage Creek Bonne Vista, and a new late immersion site, a new program, late immersion, entry in grade 6 at École Van Bellingham. And we have had remarkable registration numbers across the board. And certainly we can see we capped out in late immersion, so there's certainly a desire. Late immersion, for those that aren't familiar, is an entry point in grade 6, and students are in language development phase in grades 6, 7, and 8, and ready to integrate with other peers that have been in French immersion since kindergarten or earlier on in elementary. The next news item I wanted to bring to you is from École Promotion. And this is news about Special Olympics at the school. They are entering their second year participating with Special Olympics Manitoba to build confidence in sport and encourage healthy lifestyles. Students will be participating in the Triad event on September 23rd, which exposes students to 4 sports and then a dedicated day for each. And that's with soccer, basketball, bocce, and track and field events. The Special Olympics participants are paired with classmates to build community and inclusion at the school. And this is a very exciting way to celebrate the multi-year strategic plan across all 4 of its quadrants. The next stop is École Guillot. You had mentioned 50th anniversary at Niagara Place is being celebrated in September. École Guillot celebrated in June. Not surprisingly, the 2 schools are in the same neighborhood, so developed at about the same time. So June 19th was the Guillot celebration, and it was combined with their year-end barbecue with about 400 people attending, and special musical performances by their choir and guitar students, and self-guided tour of the school with important Guillot facts. So there were also a display of photos from years gone by, and an opportunity for former students and current students to connect. So it was very exciting, and of course, you can't have a 50th anniversary without special cookies. So 50th anniversary cookies were on hand for the celebration as well. And our last stop is at Frontenac School. Frontenac is getting a fresh coat of paint on the outside. It's causing a great stir in the community. People are very excited with the transformation and the welcoming atmosphere that it's creating. And they're excited to see the final result because it's still a work in progress at this point. Improve safety. There is a new crosswalk installed at Frontenac School. It's moved. It used to be about 30 to 50 meters west of where it's located right now. And now it's much better situated. It lines up right with the front entrance of the school. And there have been improvements noticed in arrival and dismissal times as the access to the school is more convenient than it was previously, and therefore easier to comply with traffic rules when it's convenient. So that is good news for Frontenac. But the most exciting news of all is the new soccer nets. And this has really brought great joy to recess and phys ed time for students. The custom nets were installed last week, and the students are really enjoying the new play space. That is what back to school looks like at Frontenac with new soccer nets, a new crosswalk, and
a new coat. That's the trifecta right there. Thank you. Thanks to you both. News is always a good reminder of the things that are going on in our schools and how important our schools are to the communities in which they reside. So I'm continually grateful for this particular agenda item. Number 4 is committee reports. This one has ad hoc negotiations committee. So this one really is just reestablishing some work that has been ongoing and reaffirming that Trustee Nordheim and Trustee Walker are representing the board on the negotiations committee. The motion just aligns some pieces that were forgotten when we had a bit of a change in personnel. So the recommendation is that the ad hoc negotiations committee established by motion 2023-023 on October 17, 2023 continue its work, and that Trustee Nordheim and Trustee Walker be appointed as members. I need a mover and second for that, please. Trustee Turner, thank you. Trustee Semignola. Any discussion on this particular item? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Trustee Palmquist, we await your vote.
Perfect.
Sorry?
Got it.
Got it. Okay, the motion is
Sorry,
carried.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
used to toggling between Zoom and the thing, but.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Number 5, finance and audit. We have a promissory note, and I will turn that one to our Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you very much. So the province is issuing a promissory note to the L'Oreal School Division. It's to cover the cost of 3 capital projects that are ongoing right now. The first is our 2 additional modular classroom units at Island Lakes Community School. Marianne Gabory, we are installing a new mechanical systems replacement and a Call St. Germain boiler replacement. And that is for $1,919,600.
Okay. So the motion reads that the issue of the promissory note LTPS 0820 as it is deemed necessary and expedient to raise by loan the sum of $1,919,600 on the credit of the L'Oreal School Division for the purpose of financing capital projects be approved. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Trustee Nordheim, second. Trustee Semignola. Discussion or questions on this item? Trustee Semignola?
This is within the scope of the budget that we put aside for capital project, and
These are provincially supported capital projects, not divisional.
Any other questions? All those in favor? When opposed? Trustee Palmquist?
Yep, we're good.
We're good, sorry, I should just wait an extra couple seconds. The motion is carried, thank you. 2 items today under chair information to the board. The first one is related to some meetings and fall professional development being hosted by the Manitoba School Boards Association. Trustees will see both of these items in their calendar. There is the annual regional meetings for Regions 5 and 6, which is all the metro boards, on November 1st, and then a full day PD day, the agenda of which has yet to be distributed on November 24th. So the first one is open to all trustees to attend. There is no cost. There is a small charge for the PD day on the 24th, which certainly the professional development fund that we have can support that. So I would ask you to engage with your calendars on both items and indicate your attendance or non accordingly. The second one is related to the ongoing communications we've been receiving and the frustrations that are being experienced by members of our community related to recent changes to scheduling by Winnipeg Transit. I know that trustees and the school division have been inundated with phone calls and emails from parents and students and community members who are frustrated with the change to the timetabling and how it is impacting students going to and coming home from school. We are aware and have been in regular communication, and this is a good segue into the next item, regular communication with Winnipeg Transit to ensure that they are aware of precisely where the real hotspots are, because there are some that have identified themselves quite substantively. It's for us to provide that information and advocate. There's nothing we can do because we don't control the scheduling of transit, but certainly we have a role to play in making sure that Winnipeg Transit understands what the impacts of some of these changes have been. So if you get communications from parents, by all means forward them on to the superintendent, who will add them to the list of items that we've collated and continue communicating all of that information to Winnipeg Transit. So with that, senior leadership team information to the board is the next item, and we kick it off with the City of Winnipeg reconfiguration survey through the superintendent to Assistant Superintendent Anderson.
Thank you. And Secretary Treasurer Rudnicki, could you click on the link to share the report? Thank you. The report before you is a compilation of results that were shared with the school division by families, 344 families, in fact, who had experiences to share related to the recent network reconfiguration. The results that I'm sharing this evening include those received up until September the 12th, last Friday. And overall, there is resounding dissatisfaction with the changes. 91.9% of respondents expressed dissatisfaction with the current transit service. 72.4% of those were very dissatisfied. The vast majority of families who had concerns with transit, 72%, have indicated that they had either contacted 311 or intended to do so. So they are also sharing their concerns directly with the city. And the big concerns that we were hearing from families, 67.3% report that 2 or more buses are required for their child to get to school now, where that wasn't the case before, and 64.1 report schedule misalignment for school start times, meaning that the bus either gets them there way too early or too late. Overall, there were only 2.3% of respondents who reported satisfaction with the changes. So these results are presented for you visually as well. You have a nice pie graph there. In the table listed are the schools for which we had received the greatest number of responses. Not surprisingly, they're some of our largest schools in the division. You can see there are a number of families at J.H. Bruns Collegiate who are very dissatisfied. And concerns that we're hearing frequently from those families relate to school buses, transit buses passing students by as they're waiting at the stop because they're already full. That's the common theme for J.H. Bruns Collegiate, in addition to the lack of alignment with bell times. The following graph, the stacked bar graph that you see, shows to what extent various issues are being experienced by families. So 63.5% found that bell times the end of day bell time isn't met with transit service. 64.1% found the same in the mornings. I had mentioned before about having to take 2 or more routes to get to school. Walk to and from the stop from the student's home is too long. It's a concern of 41.6% of families who responded, and from the bus stop to the school, the walk is too long, another 44.7%. And insufficient capacity on transit routes was signaled by 55.3% of respondents. Next steps, we will be sharing these results with Winnipeg Transit, and indeed some more detailed results showing specific communities and neighborhoods where families live that are experiencing specific concerns. And we are going to be working with Winnipeg Transit to try and find solutions that they can bring to the table. And I would mention that Winnipeg Transit has already expressed an openness to making adjustments to some of their service times in order to better align with school bell times. So that is certainly a plus. We are hopeful that transit will be responsive to adding additional capacity on routes that currently are leaving students at bus stops. The number 1 offender is Route 557, which begins in Sage Creek, goes through Bonnie Vista and Island Lakes before going up past Bruns and to WPC and Collège-Béliveau. That route, there's 1 transit bus to serve all of the students that are trying to get to those schools. And to be clear, when transit was in communication with us last year as they were developing their network changes, when they announced that they would not be continuing to provide charter service as they had for many years, and that families in Island Lakes appreciated significantly for getting to and from J.H. Bruns and Collège-Béliveau. Transit assured us that although the charters were going away, the redesigned system would meet the demand and the capacity. And clearly that hasn't happened in this specific instance. So we're hopeful that they will be able to make some tweaks, add some additional capacity to routes that need it. From a divisional point of view, what we are aiming to do is to offer fee-for-service school bus transportation in 2 ways. We have some existing bus routes that have capacity where we can leverage that capacity to bring students to school on a fee-for-service basis. We've begun contacting families where we have capacity on certain routes, and we're also in the planning stages for introducing new routes where there is sufficient demand and need for transportation between the 2. An interesting point that came through conversations with parents who had responded to the survey While they appreciate the division's offer to implement fee-for-service transportation, what they really want is adequate city transit because their children need the bus pass to get to work and to the library and to sports and cultural events after school that they do appreciate and may take the division up on the offer that their first choice would be for improved Winnipeg transit. So I will be happy to work alongside Winnipeg Transit to make sure that the concerns of our community are heard.
Thank you very much. Trustees, discussion on this? Questions? Trustee Semenyola and then Trustee Walker.
Yeah, I think for me it's two things. Since the last time we had a discussion on this in our first public meeting, has there been any engagement with the city, from the city of Winnipeg based on the initial letter that we wrote to them? You get them engaged?
The engagement that we've had with them is that they know we are intending to share the survey results with them and that we'll be using that for next planning steps.
Okay, I guess my next part to that was if there's any timeline on when we can expect either communication or a change. I suspect that's pending them looking at the results.
Yes, I will bring an update to you at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Trustee Walker.
Thank you. To add to the conversation that we're communicating with Winnipeg Transit, it's also important for us to consider communicating with the decision makers who are funding transit. When Winnipeg Transit was tasked with modernizing our system, they were told that they could only do it with the existing funds. And a big part of the problem we're having here is there isn't enough money, buy enough buses, and have enough drivers to run all the routes that are necessary. That's why buses are passing students by full of students. There's a big demand for it. And one other interesting note, I'm part of a group that works on transportation and planning. And somebody pointed out here in an email that going back to phase 1 of the public engagement on the transit master plan, there was thousands of people that participated in that public engagement. 75% of them were heavy transit users. And they were asked if they could only have one, would they prefer a longer walk to a stop with more frequent service or a shorter walk to a stop with less frequent service? And 83% said longer walk. So I believe that the new system is a good start, but I think that we're going to need to go to our partners at City Council and have conversations about the need to spend more money on public transit.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer.
Trustee Palmquist put up his
Oh,
hand.
I'm sorry. I was watching and I missed it. I'm sorry, Trustee Palmquist. Go ahead.
I just put it up a second ago.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I think that in keeping with one of the motions coming forward in the MSBA, I think this experience illustrates that how important it is that our division and all divisions engage with the city of Winnipeg and consider the experience of students and families getting to and from school as being part of school day and part of our responsibilities as an overlapping service provided there and responsibility. And I anticipate and hope that we will be able to engage this same level of interest and collaboration with the city of Winnipeg on active transportation as well. Indeed, we can and should see active transportation as a pressure relief valve for some of these challenges, but something that we have to actually proactively encourage and enable and examine where we can be supporting that within our own realm as well as collaboration with the city of Winnipeg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What else? All right, lots of good data that we have to try and convince transit to make some changes and observations around who we should be engaging the ways that we can either through our regional conversations or through our provincial association. So thank you very much, everyone. Item 7.2 is international student travel, and through the superintendent to Assistant Superintendent Anderson.
Very good, thank you. Again, Secretary Treasurer Rudnicki is sharing on the screen the report that's available for your review. The first table shows international trips that are planned in the coming within the current school year after January through to June of 2026. And you can see we have a variety of schools that are engaging in trips to the Caribbean, Central America, South America, and Europe. And these are primarily our high schools, Costa Rica being for grades 9 to 12, and other trips being 10 to 12 or grades 11 and 12, depending on the destination. Also shared with you our upcoming cultural exchange program dates organized by the division's international student program. And you can see there the dates that we will have students traveling to Chile, Italy, France, Germany, Japan, and Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. So quite a number of trips coming. You can see trips that have our students going, but also trips that have the students from host countries coming back to experience life in Winnipeg.
Trustees, any questions on this item? Life in Winnipeg in February for a true cultural experience, right? All right, thank you very much. That takes us to item 7.3, and it's always exciting to receive our report to community that we will share widely. So I'm to turn this one to Superintendent Michelin.
I'm going to share with trustees and those joining us online the annual reports to the community. Trying to move it forward. And so we will soon be releasing physical copies of the annual report to the community, and as well as a new digital version of the document. And so as we've seen some time now, for quite a few years, we start with some pages that share a message and some information like the one I'm showing now on the screen. Some numbers, enrollment numbers. We have the L'Oreal Arts and Technology Center, as you know. They're just 2 schools of this kind in the province, MITT, a provincially run school, and ATC. We have our René Delorme Center. So again, some information, some stats about the work coming out of RDC. Although the report is about last school year, 2024-25, we do have these 2 pages that are future focused, given that you passed a budget in March of last year for this coming school year. So these 2 pages that speak to that political decision in support of this year's budget. We have our bricks and mortar stories about all of the local and provincial investments in schools, school buildings. We have our shout out to students and staff pages. And then we have a series of stories tied to our multi-year strategic plan. And these are always a challenge to decide which story to tell, so many stories. So hence the digital version. So you'll see a digital version this year that will offer the reader to go deeper in the story, deeper into the story that we see in print here, and also explore other stories of belonging that aren't in print. So we start with a learning story that had leadership in LRST, learning alongside Dr. Alex Wilson. We move to a story about the star blanket at RDC, and my hope for that star blanket is to see it present in many schools in LRST over the course of coming months and years to inspire others in the community to think of ways to bring Indigenous culture alive in schools. We have stories about mastery. Here, a story about our resource allocation framework. Lots of important data that didn't have until very recently as a result of this collective effort to create this framework. Really one of a kind in Manitoba and Canada. And so more to explore here. Here we'll actually link to a data dashboard, a public data dashboard, making this information available to our community and anyone outside our community who's interested. We have a story about inclusion, our French immersion schools. In many ways, we are ensuring equitable access to French immersion, or ensuring that French immersion is as inclusive as can be. There's another story that happens to be in a French immersion school about inclusion and Special Olympics. We move on to the independence quadrant in our MYSP and a story about, again, inclusion in our French immersion schools, seeing the expansion of Propel. Archwood School, a story about the music program and its enrichment. Here again, we have many stories about the amazing things happening in the arts, in schools and LRST. So I'm going to invite trustees and the community to not only read the print version, but read the explore the online version that will have readers explore, go deeper about this story and stories about the arts across LRST. We have a story about investing in our literacy as it relates to artificial intelligence, a story about the International Day of Pink at Lakota Collegiate, the night market at Collège Jean Sauvé, and then we move to the generosity quadrant and a story celebrating our inaugural year of full day, everyday, universal, full day, everyday kindergarten. And here, a spotlight will be out soon, pointing to another data dashboard where we make public all of the data, the research we have to share with the community about that first year of this important initiative and our plans to continue researching the initiative for many, many years to come. Of course, when one thinks of Full Day K, we think of our partnerships with our early childhood educators and how we learned on the land last year together. Speaking of the land, we had a story about our inaugural Learning with the Land event and how this launches us relative to strategic action 4.5 of the multi-year strategic plan. And finally, we so regret having to honor the loss of two very important people to the community. So there you have it.
Pretty impressive. Great stories that are being shared that really tell about our about who we are. Trustees, any comments? I know we're just seeing this today for the first time. This is a new deal, so initial thoughts or comments that you want to make? Trustee Turner?
Just wondering when the hard copies, printed copies will be?
Yeah, as I suggested in the coming days, along with the digital. And so you'll get your copy and anyone in the community who would like a copy can go to their local school or the board office to pick one up until we run out.
Till we run out, all right.
Once we run out, we have a digital copy, a digital version goes even deeper to explore.
Could we send copies to the local libraries as well?
Possibly, we could explore that. We know that we're sending a bunch of copies to some folks. Every year, we send physical copies to those who've been a part of the storytelling, to honor them, to thank them for being a part of the stories we tell. We send copies to fellow chairs and superintendents. So I explore that idea if we have sufficient numbers, maybe put off this year, if not next.
I know that you can get annual reports from the city and different things at the libraries.
Yeah, so it's a great idea. Just hadn't considered it yet, and I'm absolutely willing to explore it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the suggestion. Anyone else? All right, that takes us to 7.4, student accident semi-annual report. Secretary, thank you for this one.
Thank you very much. And so I just wanted to share with the Board of Trustees the semi-annual student accident report. So this is for January to June 2025. And so in the report, we are noting that we had a total of 301 incidents that were reported by schools. 170 of those were minor in nature. Moderate was 96 and severe was 35. Of the 301 incidents that were reported by schools, there were no incidents involving vehicle during this period. And so just a clarification as to what minor, moderate, and severe incidents categorizations are. And so minor is injuries that result in a scratch, bruise, scrape, minor cuts, or minor sprains. Moderate are injuries that result in more serious cuts, more severe sprains, broken appendages, fingers. And severe is injuries to the eye, face, back, or injury resulting in a break to an arm or leg. And so that's what I wanted to report to the board.
Trustees, any questions on this report?
Trustee
Okay,
Palmquist.
Trustee Palmquist and then Trustee Semignola.
Thank you, Jamie. Just for clarity, would an incident like what occurred last week in the future be considered within the scope of these numbers? Though it happened.
Yes, if the school has reported it to our insurer, then this would be part of the report. These numbers here are what schools report to our insurer for data collection purposes.
So in the case of a recent collision, that was the type of thing that would be reported?
If the school has reported it, yes, and because we know of these incidents, we review it to make sure that they have.
Okay, thank you.
Semignola.
Okay, I think one of them was asked already. The question that I had, to go just around some of these are higher in some schools, some of them are not. So I was wondering if it's more of there's a reporting criteria that comes with this that's driving some of the numbers up, like looking at Lovely, HS, poor. I think that answers it.
Yeah.
My other question is like when I look at these numbers, is this good? Is this bad? Is this okay? Like how does this compare to the same period the year before? I think that's just what looking at that's what he doesn't tell me. Like I'm not sure if this is moderate, it's expected, high school and his learning, or this is way above what we expect. I just had a hard time trying to pick that out on what exactly these numbers would mean from a consumption standpoint for me.
Yeah, I can provide historical comparative data in future reports. As for whether this is good or bad, I guess any injury of a child isn't a good thing, but I can definitely bring that historical perspective. We've only started doing this, I believe, 2 years ago on this report to the board.
Thank you.
Questions? All right, international student program updates.
You again?
That's you again. Sorry, I should have said that.
Yes, so I just wanted to provide the board with an update on where we are with our international student program for the 2025-2026 school year. So preliminary enrollment in high schools is 123 international students. If we were to look at last year's, we had a total of 134 students, so it's a slight decrease of 11 students in our high schools. In our elementary schools, last year we had 10. This year we don't have any. We've really been focusing on recruiting for high schools as well as ATC. For our ATC numbers, those are mainly adult education students. And so last year we had a total of 47 adult students, and this year currently we have 35. And so with the adult education students, we are limited by the province of Manitoba. They dictate or they give us a quota called a provincial attestation letters. And so last year we were limited to 47. This year we initially received 30 PALs. And subsequently, we received an additional 40. And so right now we've filled 35 of those 70. And we are planning on filling another 20 to 25 students. And that is centered around a second ECE class offering that we're going to be doing at ATC that we're working with Principal Baker on right now. And so that is the update on numbers for our international and adult ed students for this year.
Thank you. Any questions from the group? Seeing none. All right, thank you. Item 7.6 is related to summer learning. There had been some questions that came through. I will be honest, I don't recall what they were, but I'm counting on Assistant Superintendent Kapelik to I know you diarized those, and I'll turn it to you to just bring that information forward.
Thank you. So I'd like to provide some more detail regarding the summer school portion of the summer learning report from last meeting. So this year, summer school offered students 2 pathways, which are credit attainment and accelerated learning. For credit attainment, students work to increase a percentage grade or demonstrate attainment of specific outcomes they had previously missed. Accelerated learning, students begin a new course and complete in full over the summer. In terms of registration and planning, during the registration, students identified whether they were recovering outcomes or starting a course. Those pursuing credit recovery indicated outcomes or skills they felt weakened. That information was gathered from their previous teachers who provided feedback on which outcomes each student would need to focus on. The first 2 days of summer school were dedicated to student-teacher conferences. Each student met one-on-one with their teacher to set goals, identify desired growth, and create a personalized plan to achieve either grade improvement or outcome mastery. The schedule for the program was 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., 5 days a week. Those who were working towards credit attainment learning time, many students stayed the full day, while others left once their learning goals were met in collaboration with teachers and families. And accelerated learning time, the duration of that time for students was spent at the school. Something I found extremely interesting was there was food supports provided for students during the day. Hot lunch, daily breakfast was provided at 10:30. Snacks in the classroom and take-home food was available for students. In terms of reporting, teachers provided weekly progress reports, which were reviewed in staff meetings. At the end of the summer, each student received either a formal report card or a progress report that was shared with their home school. These reports outlined attained skills and outcomes so the home schools could continue to build on student strengths. At completion, progress reports and formal letters detailing courses and final percentage grades were emailed to school administration and clerical staff.
Thank you. Trustees, any questions or clarification from what was shared? Christina or time?
So how many kids took part in the summer school?
I don't have that on me right now. I
Okay.
think it's at one, I think there was, I believe it was 112 students took 124 courses, but I can look.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
if, just because again, looking back and, you know, over the years, we were providing many more supports in the high schools. So not as many kids are ending up in summer school. So I wouldn't mind knowing what the numbers and the trend is. And I guess my question is, if registration happens after kids receive their report card, I hope that they would have known ahead of time whether or not but that isn't always the case. Can kids register like on the first and second day as we have in the past?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, as my wishes would be the same as yours, that this wouldn't be something that was realized on the report card pickup day, but I'm sure accommodations would be.
Yeah. So I'm interested more in again, reporting not so much to schools within our division, but schools outside of the division, how that aligned in terms of outcomes and conversations with those teachers. So if that's an opportunity that you have prior to next year's summer school, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, item 7.7, air quality index through the superintendent to assistant superintendent Anderson.
Yes, thank you. As you will recall, in May, June, and over the summer months, Winnipeg experienced a number of days where air quality was very poor, and the air quality health index was rated at high 7 to 10 or very high 10 plus. I am sharing with you that the school division is developing administrative practices so that we have a clear mechanism for knowing how to respond when these types of situations appear. In the spring, we did indeed face situations where we were making decisions at the last minute. And we are looking to have a more articulated process in place before the spring and summer season arises. These are conversations that we're having with experts from Environment Canada to understand their forecasting and reports that they have, recommendations that they have for how to interpret the air quality health index, and also conversations that we're having with other metro school divisions so that we have consistency of approach across metro. And I can report to you that we have, for example, across metro come to an agreement that at an air quality health index of 10 plus, students will be kept indoors and all outdoor activities will be canceled. And that's certainly what we had in place already in the spring, but this will be in place universally across school divisions. So as this work proceeds, we will bring you updates and share with you the finalized protocols for decision making in this regard.
Questions from trustees on this? Trustee Walker?
When determining what the air quality is, or is it going to be certain times in the day that it's measured? I'll give you an example. I was on a field trip with my class. The air was great when we were about to leave for Birdsall Park. We arrived in the park and could barely see across the field, so we decided to pull the plug because there was no, we just hadn't experienced it before. So the other teachers and I decided it's time to go back. And on our way back, the air cleared out again. So, it's just kind of smoke moving around. How do we decide at 6 a.m. that we're not going all day? Like, what if at noon the air quality is good again?
Yes, and we are looking at processes like you mentioned at 6 a.m. If the air quality health index is a certain value, what does that mean for the rest of the day? Some activities, certainly where their travel is involved, you have school bus charters, you're going to be attending, in the example you gave, at Birds Hill Park, where there isn't an indoor option. We certainly will be relying on teachers' judgment, as you shared, to make the call. The other piece, and this came through in conversations with Environment Canada, is that the air quality can vary significantly over very short distances. And they shared some other tools that, in addition to their own air quality health index, some other monitoring tools that school divisions may find helpful for monitoring air quality over different geographies. But as you say, we are right now, Environment Canada only has 3 sites in Manitoba. They have one in Winnipeg, one in Brandon, and one in Flin Flon. So we often are organizing field trips to other areas that are far from any of those places. Direction that we gave to schools, for example, in the spring, that we're going to the White Shell to do canoeing trips or outdoor camp experiences with students, was to monitor conditions locally and adjust their activity schedule in consequence, that if the air was smoky, if it was clearly difficult to breathe, we're not doing strenuous activities. This is a indoor arts and crafts day, or maybe we're doing board games in the main lodge, but adjusting schedules and activities on the fly in light of local conditions.
Any other questions? Mr. Semignola?
Protocol, my question is unrelated to this item. It's about a previous item.
Okay, well, why don't we put this one to bed and then we go back? Are there any other questions related to the air quality index? Seeing none, your question?
Yeah, I'd like to refer to 7.5. I know when I was preparing for the meeting, going through the agenda, I did have a question. It just escaped my mind. It kind of came back.
Okay.
I know International Student Program does have a top line budget implication when we're budgeting, seeing how many students will be coming under that program.
Mm-hmm.
Is the number that we're seeing as an actual? How does that compare to what we had initially budgeted for? And I guess the next thing is that, are the numbers going anywhere close to where we were pre-pandemic, or yes?
Yeah, so so I can speak to the financial aspect of it. So the preliminary numbers that are coming out of last year, and when I say preliminary, is because they haven't been audited yet by our external auditors. We're seeing a gross profit of $1.3 million for the year. And so what that means is our revenues exceeded our expenditures for the program. When you compare that to prior years, it's hard to compare. And why I say that is because one large component of our financials in previous years was our adult education program that happened after school hours. We had evening courses that were taught by instructors at ATC. And those activities stopped this year because of, we stopped that programming because the courses that were offered were not by teachers, they were instructors. And so there was a question about accreditation for those courses, and so we ceased those operations. And so when you go back to pre-pandemic, we were looking at roughly 300 students, and when I mean pre-pandemic, 2019, 2020, we had 303 students, and that didn't include adult education. And we were having a gross profit about $3.2 million. And so when you look at 303 students versus 191 in total, you're looking at about 2/3 of the gross profit. On a revenue per student basis, pre-pandemic, we were driving around $20,000 per student in revenues. Right now, it's closer to $18,000. And the reason for that is because pre-pandemic, we were also getting a lot more during the day students, and we're not getting as many as we were historically. So the revenue per student is less.
Okay. So, but the numbers we're seeing are in line with what we had budgeted for.
In budget, what we budget for is break even. And so everything any gross profit that we experience is added to our net income for the year. And it helps offset, or it helps contribute to other supports in our system. Like, for instance, we add an additional 6 FTE teachers in the system using ISP dollars to support ISP students and EAL students. And so there's supports like that. In addition, we use the dollars to offset the cost of our cultural enrichment program. So there's investments that we make using those dollars. Historically, we've done Aspire using ISP dollars. We did a wireless refresh, so IT hardware, and that was used by ISP dollars. Because in the past few years, we have been running in an operating deficit because of our insufficient funding from the province, we haven't been able to reinvest those dollars in supports and more offset operating costs.
No, thanks. I think that's kind of what I wanted to hear more.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Okay, we move into policy, starting with just some updates to administrative protocol. There is no motion attached to this. These are just updates formed by any number of things, right? So Assistant Superintendent Anderson will walk us through this one.
Yes, so the administrative protocol that supports policy AC, human diversity, has undergone a change. I'm bringing this for information to the board this evening. The change brings this administrative protocol in line with recent changes to the Manitoba Human Rights Code. In the last legislative session, the code was amended to recognize gender expression as a protected characteristic. And consequently, the administrative protocol has been amended in the same way.
So though that's all attached in the item, was there any questions of clarification? Okay, seeing none, that takes us to ratification of some amendments. Back to you.
Thank you. Along much the same lines, Appendix A of policy ACF-ACG, interpersonal relationships and resolution of concerns about harassment and discrimination, has been updated to reflect the change made to the Manitoba Human Rights Code. So accordingly, we have added gender expression to the list of protected characteristics mentioned in the appendix. The other policy that is coming before you is policy JLF. And as you know, school staff, due to their access to children, are in a unique position to identify and report children in need of protection. Policy JLF, reporting concerns about child abuse, outlines the responsibility of LRSD staff who believe a child may be in need of protection to report their concerns to a child protection agency. And this evening, we're bringing some changes forward to that policy. As part of the proposed changes, the title will be changed to better reflect the provincial reporting mechanism, which includes neglect in addition to abuse. So the new title will be Reporting Concerns about a Child in Need of Protection, which is a more general title to include both neglect and abuse. The proposed changes also make clear that the duty to report pertains to any child, not just students, as the policy is currently worded. In other words, a teacher who would become aware that a younger sibling, not yet of school age, was suffering emotional abuse in the home, there would be a duty to report for any child, not only students in our system. I'm sure that the policy has been interpreted that way, but the wording was not careful, and we're updating it accordingly. The proposed changes also clarify who is required to report, and the provincial document that provides guidance in this area describes school staff as meaning all employees and volunteers in the school. So that would include volunteer coaches, for example, that may not have been immediately obvious in the wording of the policy. So updating along those lines. The proposed changes will also permit a step forward in the division's efforts to digitize processes and reduce paper. The Information Systems Department has developed an electronic application accessible to LRSD employees only that allows for staff to document information shared with Child and Family Services when reports of a child in need of protection are made. And the need to document that information is an expectation of the provincial mechanism as well.
The motion then is as follows, that the following amendments be approved. Policy JLF, reporting concerns about child abuse, and policy ACF-ACG, Appendix A, interpersonal relationships and resolution of concerns about harassment and discrimination. The mover and seconder, please. Trustee Turner, thank you. Trustee Walker, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. That takes us to correspondence. We have items documented as received and sent from our board and from the MSBA. Was there anything that anybody wanted to flag for any reason at all? All right, so we will receive those as correspondence accordingly. And did I mention Manitoba School Boards Association? I did, so that takes care of item 2 as well. We have 2 action items this evening. The first one is a bylaw for religious instruction. This is second reading, I believe, but I'm going to turn this to Superintendent Michelin to set us up. Oh, sorry.
All right, sorry about that. Stepping out for a second. All right, you are bringing for second reading. So as we discussed last meeting, have religious instruction being requested by some at the new French immersion school in Sage Creek that serves both students in Sage Creek and Bonavista. You have all the details there, the letters, petitions, and as required by Public Schools Act, we're considering it for second reading.
So I guess I could have said that, right? So the motion reads then that bylaw 2025-206-001 being a bylaw to authorize the instruction of religion at the French immersion school serving Sage Creek and Bonavista Vista during the period of September 25 to June 26. Received second reading. Seconder, please, for this one. Trustee Simignola and Trustee Turner, thank you. Any discussion on this one? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion is carried, thank you. The second action item relates to resolutions for MSBA's convention and AGM in March. I'm going to set this one up and then pass it to the vice chair because he's speaking to the first two resolutions. So for those who are unfamiliar with the process, one of the days of our two-day convention is devoted to resolutions that have been submitted by the 6 regions around the province. They land with the 6 regions by virtue of having been forwarded by respective school divisions. So this is the beginning of the process where our board has drafted, or members of our board have drafted 4 resolutions for the board to consider moving forward. The process tonight will be to read the resolution, to hear some rationale, discussion if there is any, and then for the board to vote on whether the resolution will be forwarded to the regional meeting. And for us, Region 5-6, Region 6 is Winnipeg School Division, Region 5 is the rest of Metro, and that meeting occurs at the beginning of November. So I'm going to turn the chair to the vice chair.
I'm going to read the first resolution as proposed, and then we'll have some discussion around it. I will ask Sandy to bring some rationale to why the resolution is being brought forward. We'll discuss, and then we'll have a vote. So we'll do that for each one along the way. I want to vote individually. So number 1, be it resolved that the Manitoba School Boards Association lobby the Department of Education and Early Childhood Learning to undertake a comprehensive review of the Manitoba Public Schools Act to ensure language, references, terminology, and outdated information are updated or corrected. So please bring forward your rationale.
So trustees have a rationale in the agenda item, but for folks in the room, this is strictly acknowledgement that the Public Schools Act, which was enacted in 1987, really has not had a wholesale review since then. There are aspects of it that have changed, but there is much about the act that various divisions, ours included, tend to bump up against and spend a lot of time getting clarification from the department on how to interpret it, given how much things have changed since 1987. So the request would be that MSBA advocate or suggest to the government that a time for a big review has arrived and is perhaps long overdue, and that we then work towards a document that is reflective of where education is in all forms in 2025.
So I'll open up the floor for discussion in regards to the motion and to the resolution and also to the rationale. And then we'll call for a vote to see if we would like this to go forward to the November 1st regional meeting.
And just a comment, I think the review is long overdue and I'm 100% in support of this, and I hope that at the regional meeting would be supported by the rest of
Any other comments or?
I wholeheartedly agree with Trustee Simignola.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll call for the vote then. Do I have to do that electronically?
The first one will be electronic, and then we'll go from there.
The first one will be? Okay. So I'll call for the vote for this resolution to go to the regional meeting.
Okay, sorry, you'll need to ask for a mover and a seconder first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move.
Thank you. trustee Palmquist, and trustee Walker.
First one's open. Come on,
Thank you.
did it come up?
Come up.
Sorry, we're having technical issues.
Would you like a hands vote?
It's gonna be a hand.
Okay. All those in favor of it going forward, please raise your hands.
Okay,
And that's unanimous.
yes.
Thank you. Number 2, move on to, be it resolved that the Manitoba School Boards Association lobby the Department of Education and Early Childhood Learning to undertake a review of the 2005 document, School Partnerships, a guide for parents, schools, and communities, with the goal of providing a more current document that recognizes and supports the role of parents, schools, and communities in the educational success of learners. And this again is trustee Nemeth bringing forward a rationale.
Yep. So this particular document was developed in 2005, was widely used and heralded by the Manitoba Association of Parent Councils, or MAPCs at the time, as the guiding document for school parent councils, parent advisory councils, home and school associations, whatever iteration they took depending on the school. MAPC was dissolved several years ago, and there really is no current guiding document, again, that is reflective of perhaps the current state of education in 2025 as far as parents, schools, and communities working together for school and student success. And so the link to the document is attached, and that would be the rationale is that the document be updated or completely overhauled or revamped with an eye to providing support that is not only in a tangible form has disappeared, but also a parent association that is no longer available to provide some much needed guidance at times.
Thank you for that.
So trustee Nordheim, this will all be verbal now.
This will be
Verbal.
verbal.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we'll have any discussion and or questions regarding the resolution and or the rationale? Questions or comments?
I'll just make a comment. I think I'll definitely be supporting this. Important that we guide our parent communities because of the work that our parents are doing in our schools. So important.
Okay, so I'm seeing nodding around the room, so I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to move this forward to the regional meeting. Trustee Turner, trustee Simoniola, and please let's have a vote verbally, please. All in favor? And we have that
Aye.
unanimous. Thank you. And I'll turn that now back to the chair.
Thank you. Thanks for your support, folks. The next item or resolution reads as follows. Be it resolved that the Manitoba School Boards Association petition the province of Manitoba, cities and municipalities to establish a default speed limit of 30 kilometers on all residential streets.
No,
I feel like I missed one. I'm sorry, my apologies. Be it resolved that the Manitoba School Boards Association call upon the province of Manitoba and appropriate municipal governments to formally consult school divisions in matters of traffic safety in around schools. Trustee Palmquist, this was your draft resolution, if you'd like to speak to it.
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is a topic that is, I believe its time has come. School divisions and schools are and ought to be one of the number one stakeholders when it comes to traffic safety, and yet are not extremely not very involved in the transportation planning and the formal side of community safety and infrastructure planning, in spite of their in spite of the obvious role that they should be playing there. I think that when we saw earlier tonight the presentation from Assistant Superintendent Anderson concerning the impact of students and families from changes in transit, it illustrates, and all the excellent work that he's done to illustrate the need for that service to work in concert with schools. I think it goes to it well illustrates the importance of having a formal and structured and ongoing relationship between schools, school divisions, school boards, and governments that make transportation planning decisions. I also would note upcoming, there is a long and widely anticipated review of the provincial legislation that permits for the creation of reduced speed school zones in order to update language that permits for the use of more modern technology than was available when these were created. And school divisions and schools need to be at the table when that legislation is being developed and updated. Millions and millions of dollars have been generated in fines and tickets out of school zones in the last 20 years, and those revenues have not gone towards making students safer. And I think that we are long past the need for schools and school divisions to close off. My point to be at the table and to have a formal mechanism for being consulted and being involved in these decisions, as they affect every aspect of the school day before and after, as we've seen in so many incidents recently. So I'm asking my colleagues here to support this so that we may rally our other partner divisions in presenting through the MSBA United Front towards other levels of government and take our place as a partner and stakeholder where we should be.
Okay, thank you very much. So the resolution read would be the motion. I need a mover and seconder, please. Trustee Walker, Trustee Turner, thank you. Discussion on the motion. Trustee Walker?
I've been doing active transportation advocacy for the last 13 years, and we've come some way with the work that we've done. At the city level, my kids can get most of the way to and from school on safe streets. But I'm finding I've personally been responsible for helping with safety outside of schools, and I've spoken with many colleagues about it, and it seems as though it's a problem everywhere in the city. Our drop-off zones are dangerous. I have a good friend of mine that has contacted me a number of times about his daughter being put in danger while she's helping as a school patrol. She has people driving through the crosswalk while she's trying to open it and cross. So it's really it's very concerning, and CAA just recently did a survey, found that many more parents are concerned about safety around schools and kids walking and biking. So now they're driving their kids, which is increasing the problem. So I would be in support.
Trustee Nordheim.
What I appreciate about this resolution, Trustee Palmquist, is that the emphasis on formally consulting school divisions. The recognition that this is probably outside of our purview. However, the opportunity to advocate for safety and to be have our opinions heard at a table, formally consulted. I like the wording of this because I think it really speaks to, and sorry, I'm gonna do something hokey, but it speaks to us staying in our lanes, so to speak. So that I think that will be very will be received well by other school divisions in terms of making sure that we recognize what our role is. So I appreciate it the way that was worded. Thank you.
Anyone else? Now it occurs to me, with the first two resolutions and now this one, I'm just going to ask the superintendent if he wants to weigh in any way, shape or form on this resolution or the previous two. Sorry, that's after the fact, but I don't want to discount that this could have an operational impact as well, so.
No, I just, I appreciate that trustees are having a policy debate that extends beyond the LRC community, include all of the province, lobbying their counterparts in other schools. So, great.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on this particular resolution? All those in favor of it advancing? Anyone opposed? No. And that is carried, so we will send that one as well. And the final one reads as follows: be it resolved that the Manitoba School Boards Association petition the province of Manitoba, cities and municipalities to establish a default speed limit of 30 kilometers on all residential streets within the province. Be it further resolved that appropriate signage be installed to inform road users of the new speed limit. Be it further resolved that a public awareness campaign be launched to educate residents and visitors of the benefits and importance of the new speed limit. And be it further resolved that local municipalities be encouraged to implement additional measures to support the enforcement of new speed limits, such as traffic calming infrastructure and increased law enforcement presence. Trustee Walker, this was your draft resolution. Would you like to speak to it?
Bit of background. In 2019, the city of Winnipeg and other municipalities were given the power to set speed limits with jurisdiction. So a group of us got together to lobby the city to look at the default speed limit. So at the moment, the default speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour unless otherwise posted, which means that people are permitted to drive 50 kilometers an hour on all streets. But evidence shows that a 30 kilometer an hour speed limit on roads where users are sharing the road is very important. For example, in many of our new communities, we don't have sidewalks. So road users are expected to all share the space. The World Health Organization has determined that best practice for setting speed limits is looking at the effects of speed, and they found that for every 1 kilometer an hour increase in speed over 30 kilometers an hour, there's a 4 to 5% increase in fatal crashes, and that risks of death and injury are considerably higher with those higher speeds. And they've actually had a campaign since 2021 encouraging cities to lower their speed limits to 30. So this is something that's being recommended by health professionals. Sorry, I'm just kind of choosing bits of my rationale to share here. So the city agreed with us to do some pilots. In 2023, they chose 4 communities to pilot default speed limits of 30 kilometers an hour. Those were Burkevale and Timble Park. And there was 2 communities that were chosen for a 40 kilometer an hour speed limit. One of them was in the Louis School Division. Yeah, escaping between.
So Worthington?
Yes, Worthington, and then another one in the Pembina Trail School. Fort Richmond. So those pilots are finished. I've spoken to many people in the Burkevale neighborhood, and it was very, very well received. They got to participate in feedback following the pilot. And the city has produced a report. From what I understand, I haven't seen it yet, but it's about a year overdue, and we're not sure when it's going to be coming out. So the long and short of it is, at the moment, our society has decided that 30 kilometers an hour is a safe speed around our schools, where our kids are being dropped off. But students that are transporting themselves between their homes and the schools aren't afforded that safely. We have made, as mentioned before, we have made some strides in making things safer. We've produced several neighborhood greenways around the city that allow for safe travel, where they have traffic calming and lower speed limits. But there's still portions of my own kids' commute where they have to travel on roads with higher speed that we know are unsafe. So I know if my children are hit by a car by somebody traveling the speed limit, they have a much greater chance of severe injury. So, and as I mentioned before, also CA has done this school travel survey, and they're finding that more and more parents aren't allowing their kids to walk and bike to school, which is leading to kids leading more sedentary lifestyles. And at the end of the day, we need kids to be exercising. It's really important for their physical and mental health to be moving. And kids are spending a lot of time in the backseat of their parents.
Thank you for the rationale. I would need a mover and seconder. Open debate, trustee Turner, second. Trustee Paul, oh, sorry,
Other trustee Palmquist had his hand up.
trustee Semignola. All right, discussion on this rationale. Trustee Turner.
I agree with this wholeheartedly. I have a street that has no sidewalks and it's only one lane of parking, one lane of driving, and there's children on bikes, children walking, children on skateboards, people walking their dogs, school buses, and there's no room. There's no room for the kids to be. No, it's not safe. It's not. I agree.
Trustee Norton.
So I don't think that there's, certainly you're the expert in terms of public transportation and also active transportation, so I defer to that. The only thing that I would say is I would find it much easier to support this resolution. And I know this is gonna make trustee Palmquist's jaw drop to the floor, but if it followed more along the line of, again, clarifying the lanes so that as it moved further down the resolution, it became more like our work rather than the advocacy. So I would be more comfortable if you could go back and make that resolution more about our continuing to work with the people who are responsible for those decisions and how we can bring data to bear from our division and still maintain the division between what's our work and theirs. So the safety, I'm not questioning at all. I just would like to have the resolution worded in a way that keeps us clear on what our role should be. Yeah.
I'm open to amendments. I guess the question is, do we do that right now, or do we go back and bring it back?
Well, this has to be received by October 1st. We don't have another meeting before then. So the suggestion that is made that there be an amendment, do you want to suggest an amendment to the wording?
I don't, but I'd be very comfortable in receiving an edited version via email to all of us and then moving forward with that.
Well, the only problem with that is we don't have a meeting where we can vote to advance it.
Okay,
So
sorry.
that's why the amendments would need to be captured this evening. Trustee Semignola?
The other path, I don't know, you can correct me procedurally, if we have to get this passed today and there's an amendment that's suggested, we can also make it on the floor.
Yes, that's correct. So we could adopt and forward the resolution as it stands.
Yep.
And the conversation around an amendment to strengthen it could take place at the regional meeting. That's a good point.
Yeah. Like the first section, I think is worded in a way that I'm comfortable with. It's as we go further down. So I'm good with that, changing it on November 1st.
I'd even be open to just having it be the first, be it resolved in the Manitoba School Petition the province of Manitoba, cities and municipalities to establish a default speed limit of 30 kilometers an hour on all residential streets within the province. It could end at that. We don't need to dictate how they go about doing it.
So then, as the one who drafted the resolution, are you proposing that amendment?
Is that kind of what you're looking for, Irene?
Yep.
I would support that amendment.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm proposing.
we need to check in with everybody and see if that amendment is supported. Trustee Palmquist, trustee Turner.
Yes.
I'll support the direction of trustee Nordheim and Walker.
Okay, so then what we're voting on is the, we have consensus to consider an amended resolution. So it would just be the first paragraph now that we would take forward. So I don't think there's any further discussion, so we'll call the question on this one. All those in favor?
I'm sorry. So procedurally, Janine.
I can't hear you. I'm
Sorry,
muted.
procedurally, Janine, do we strike the last two sentences and vote on the first?
So it's just it's right, because we've agreed as a group
Yeah.
unanimously,
Yeah.
we accept the amendment.
Yeah.
And so now we're voting on the amended motion.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we brought it back to the amended
Yep,
and bring
Yep.
it forward. Okay.
okay. Did I call for the question? All those in favor?
Sorry, we need a mover and seconder.
We already did that.
We did that, it
Yeah,
was Turner.
I was
Okay.
the,
Thank you.
trustee Seminole was the seconder.
Okay,
It's even on the
all
board.
those in favor, sir?
Yeah, okay, sorry, all those in favor? Thumbs up. And the motion is carried, thank you. So we will send that to the Resolutions and Policy Committee, and we'll revisit these on November 5th, and I'm very glad to see L'Oreal's engagement to that level in the resolutions process. That's great. That's going to be some good conversation. Okay, that takes us to public question period. Becky, Scott, Jay, any questions, comments?
No questions. With your indulgence, I'd like to introduce Becky.
Yes.
Our new Vice President of Professional Development, joining us here. And then Scott is still kicking her out as our Vice President. We've done a little rejigging this time, so Becky and I have in the office all day long.
Okay.
Scott is full-time at Glenlawn again. And yeah, we just want to wish Jacqueline all the best on her leave and her upcoming baby. Yeah, I guess I'm looking at the whisper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in addition to the family, so that's
Great.
this
Couple weeks, yeah.
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 Well, I'd encourage everybody to go and introduce, I mean, we've all met, thanks, but hit stop, we'll have a receiving line if you want. Usually welcome Becky in the circle, so. Not seeing any other questions online, so that brings us to the end of our agenda. We are adjourned for the evening. Have a good night, everyone.